Hello fellow FPV pilots, I hope you're all well. Today I have the Talon V2 on the counter today because I'm having a bit of a problem with one of the Lumenier 2208 1650 Joshua Bardwell edition motors. Check it out. Now at this point you're probably a little confused and you're wondering why in the heck is he doing this? Well, I was flying this drone, which was flying very good by the way, mind you. After it had been built, I've put about 5 or 6 packs through this drone, and then suddenly it started to get backwards death rolls, basically meaning that I would be flying and upon giving it any kind of forward pitch or increase in throttle like a punch out, it would just death roll to the ground because this particular motor would stop spinning. But when you're flying FPV, you can't see that. You just know that every time you give it throttle, the drone just spirals to the ground. Well, after going through about 2 sets of really nice props and checking my motor wires, not really finding anything, I decided to connect it to betaflight and check my calibration and just all the random configuration things that you can check. I even connected to blheli and calibrated my escs and then even reflashed them, but it still did the same thing. Yeah, maybe Joshua Bardwell will check this motor out for me. Maybe I could send it to him and he could give me an idea of what might have happened to it. I am going to take the bell off just to kind of get an idea of if maybe there's something burnt on the top that I'm just not seeing. But I mean, you can turn it and visibly see all of the windings, and I don't see anything there, guys. This motor here, motor number 1, was the motor that was acting up. I kept getting death rolls upon giving a lot of upward thrust or like punch outs. If I try to do any kind of acro flying, this motor right here was stalling and like kind of like catching up. I have that motor over here. I've replaced it now with a Sunfun 2207 750 kV. That's the closest motor I had to these 2208 1650 kV motors. I have powered it on and established that it was the motor that was the problem. After going back now and starting to edit this video, I'm wondering if possibly it was just like a cold solder connection and maybe the motor just wasn't getting the right voltage that it was supposed to be getting or something to that nature. So I'm going to end up putting the motor back onto the quad and resoldering it and just seeing if it still continues to do it even after making sure that I have really good solder joints. But when I went to pull the motor off, I can say that the wires were connected. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that, and I'm pretty sure most of my solder joints were pretty good. I don't really usually tend to do cold solder joints. Solder, whatever you call it. The JB Lumenier 2208 motor is, I don't really know what's wrong with it. I've never had a motor do that ever before. I've had motors burn out, have a winding that is shorted or just burned up, and it'll just either stop turning altogether or it will start smoking really badly or something to that nature. But this motor right here spins up just fine upon arming, but when you give it a lot of speed for throttle, it stops turning and then starts turning again and does this weird twitchy thing, and it causes the drone to just crash. It'll death roll. It does a backwards death roll. So I'm just going to plug this up real quick. Yeah, and I don't know what's going on with my ESC tones. Somebody pointed that out, that sometimes I turn it on and the ESC tones sound fine. You know, like do 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 do, and that's just it. But right now you just heard it. It's like do 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 do. It's like 2 extra tones. I don't know what's going on in there. Maybe I have like a what they call a desync, or I don't know. I've calibrated the ESCs, so I'm not sure why it's still doing that. But I'm going to turn this on and just show you now that I've changed this motor to this DYS 1750-2207 motor. It's no longer doing what it was doing. Gonna arm that now. So earlier, when I would give it any kind of upward throttle or forward pitch, this motor right here would stop spinning, and it's no longer doing that. If I go backward pitch, left pitch, right pitch, up, forward pitch, it doesn't do it. If I give it throttle, it does that. But yeah, anyway, nevertheless, the motors are not getting hot. They're not hot, obviously, because I mean it doesn't even have a load on it. But the key thing is that it's not going to cause me to crash, because I'm not going to get a stalled motor. I don't know why this motor is stalling. I'm assuming that, you know, Lumenier makes some decent motors, and that, you know, obviously if Joshua Bardwell had any kind of issue with his motors, he probably would have pointed it out to Lumenier, and maybe they would have had some kind of a recall. But I don't know if it's just from having a crash with this motor. You can see this motor is perfectly fine. Oh, it's perfectly fine, all right, with that big old scratch or dent or whatever that is on the top of it there. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I am not actually with the motor now as I am editing this video, but I will check the motor out before posting and make sure that I leave in the description exactly how bad that little scratch or nick, whatever that is, there is. And I have had some crashes with this drone, but they've all been top impacted crashes where I ran into something with the top canopy, but none of the motors have taken any damage. This motor has no damage at all, and like I said, it still spins up. So I don't know what happened to the motor. If you guys have an idea, let me know. I'm really depressed about that because I love those motors on this frame and it was working out great for me. But anyways, my kids are running into the room and they're about to yell and scream, and y'all don't want to hear that, so I'm out. Peace.